When it comes to understanding the nature of who we are as human beings, and not only understanding that, but decisively experiencing it as our own reality, it's very important that we have a common language that we can all understand. And it's equally important that who we are as human beings, that our fundamental reality, which is the fundamental reality of everything, not be either oversimplified or overcomplicated. So nowadays we see a lot of oversimplification and overcomplication. Overcomplication that involves endless doing, methods, practices, constant effort for someone to achieve something called the fundamental nature of reality, or whatever you might call it. And then the oversimplification is just to say, oh, everything is spontaneous consciousness. It just is as it is. It comes from nothing and it leads to nothing. It doesn't matter what you do. All conduct is uncontrived. Don't try to shape your conduct in any way. Do whatever you want to do. So these are two extremes, oversimplification and overcomplication. But wherever there is an extreme, there is no experience of the fundamental nature of reality. The fundamental nature of reality is like forever flawless sky, in which there has never been an extreme anywhere. There's no way to point to any part of sky and say, oh, this is this or that is that, this is or that isn't. So the fundamental nature of our own minds, which is awareness, is that by which we know everything. And awareness is sky-like, stainless, forever empty, like infinite space. It's never been made into anything. So anything that appears within that space is also comprised of that space and is completely stainless and flawless. Now, what does this have to do with our practical daily reality? Well, what it has to do with our practical daily reality is that for most of us as human beings, we've learned something about who we are, and what we learn is basically that we have a body and a mind. So this is keeping it very simple, but not oversimplifying it, but not overcomplicating it either. So we have a mind and a body. We learn this, and we learn that our mind is within our body and that it's dependent on our body in order to be. And so we learn, too, that what our mind is comprised of are thoughts and emotions that register experiences of people, places, and things, including our own body-mind complex. And when we take ourselves to be that, that's a very limited way of looking at ourselves. So just in a simple way that any human being can understand, we could call that the old mind. That's a certain way of looking at things, that mind is comprised of thoughts and emotions, and that these thoughts and emotions form an identity. They form an identity of who each one of us is, and we could call that a personal identity or an individual identity. And when we believe that we are our thoughts and emotions, what goes along hand in hand with that is trying to have good thoughts and good emotions and diminish or get rid of negative thoughts and negative emotions. And so all of these things that appear within the mind for our entire life, most of us spend all of our energy exhausting ourselves through trying to sort out all these positive and negative states, to accumulate more positive states and to diminish or get rid of the negative states. And we do that in primarily two ways. One is we either avoid the negative states or we replace the negative states with a positive state. So when we do that, we perpetuate a life of being on a roller coaster ride, because we're never outside of our thoughts and emotions. We live our entire life inside our thoughts and emotions. And we believe that that's all there is, that it's only through manipulating thoughts and emotions by either avoiding them or replacing them with other thoughts and emotions that we can have a good life and be a good person and somehow achieve happiness. And we persist in this exhausting ordeal, even though it never delivers the result we're looking for. Even if we can reshape our thinking in some small way or reshape our emotions in some small way. Have you noticed the emotions and the thoughts can't be controlled? They're unmanageable, they're unpredictable, they're ceaseless, they're countless. Just when we think we have them under control, that they're managed somehow, boom, everything falls apart. And we see that there isn't any control whatsoever, but our response to that is to try to get more control. So we dive back into rearranging all the thoughts and emotions and trying to do something about them. So in this way, we spend all of our lives like a machine. We're sorting all these thoughts and emotions and trying to do something about them, just like the coin counter at the bank. Have you ever seen those coin counters? You put all the coins in there and they all fall into different slots. Well, this is how we learn to spend our life, but rather than the coins, our coins are all our thoughts and emotions that we're constantly sorting, like the coin sorting machine at the bank.